about how we can work to continue training, override our innate fight or flight responses. That's a big part of sparring. People, when they start sparring, they're very kind of like up in their heads. There's a lot going on, and you can see them. They're kind of, you're almost kind of like spastic because your body doesn't really know quite what to do. Over time, as you learn to become comfortable in this situation, even though it's chaotic, you're learning to keep yourself calm and react in real time without having these flare-ups of your nervous system of trying to get away, or being like aggressively coming in, but you're not really aware of what you're doing. You're allowed to, you can be aggressive, you can move away, but you're trying to stay calm and be in the moment the whole time. That means you're in charge of, you've overridden your fight or flight response. And so since we can't spar right now, the next best way to do that, or maybe even the best way, is stance training. So coming into a horse stance, the whole thing with stance training is basically it gives you nothing to do except feel the pain that you're creating in your legs. So come into a nice low horse stance, knees over the heels. We want to keep our lower back flat, so we're sitting in, our torso is sitting into our hips. We want a neutral spine. So we don't want it cave forward, we don't want it rounded back, hunched. We want it totally neutral so that our weight can sit down on inside of itself into our hips. Crown of the head is pulling up. And we're going to hold this stance for 3 minutes. You can chamber the hands in. So we want to push down into the feet. What's going to happen first is you're going to start wearing out your thigh muscles, because this is where you're going to be gripping through the thighs, or maybe your calves. But if you try to push that down into the feet, pushing the feet into the floor, you'll be strengthening through your ankle, through the knee, more through your joints and connective tissue, and it'll take a little pressure off of the big muscles. And you might find that you can go a little lower. But what's going to happen is basically your nervous system is going to start flaring up. This is why we hold stances. We want that to happen, and we want to remain calm. The most obvious way to stay inside yourself, remain calm while you're in pain, is to come into the breath. Focus on the breath. So you breathe, you keep the breath relaxed. That helps keep your nervous system calmed down. As your nervous system revs up, your breath wants to rev up. If you force the breath to stay slow and steady, you can keep the nervous system calmed down. We want to stay with the pain. We don't run away from it, because you'll feel it. We're trained to not like pain. That's totally human. Or I guess I should say that's totally animal. But what is truly human is being able to feel the pain and not have a big response to it, to quell that big response to wanting to run away from the pain. So stay in your horse stance, keep opening through the groin, pushing into the floor, and breathing. If you absolutely cannot stand it for another second, try coming up just 1 inch. That'll open up this whole new range of where you have to grip your muscles, and you might buy yourself some time. But then try to sink back down if you can. 30 seconds. Stay calm and breathe. "15 seconds, sink a little lower. Stay calm and breathe. All right, gently come up. Come onto your left leg. Bring the right leg forward into a cat stance and drop. down your back leg. So now all the weight is in the back leg. The rest of the body is the same. We're sinking through the torso. We're not rounding the back and we're not rounding it forward. We're letting the weight drop directly into the hips. And it's like we're sitting on our back leg. You want the knee tracking over the toes. You don't want the knee twisted offline from the toes, because we want to be able to stack up on our structure, our bones, and our connective tissue, like I said before, so that you can begin to try to relax through the big muscles that are gripping around the bones right now. Again, you can pull the hands in, broadening across the chest. Don't flare the chest forward, because that, again, that rounds the back. We're keeping the spine neutral, open across the chest. So now, this should get intense more quickly because all of the weight is in one leg. So you really have to push down in through the foot, stack up through the ankle, calf, knee, thigh, up to the hip. And our upper body is just relaxing, sinking down into the hips also. And we try to keep our nervous system calm. We're trying to subdue the flight, running away from the pain. Also, I suppose there also might be this thing, the fighting the pain, where you're gritting your teeth and you're just like, ah. That's the same thing. We're trying to not do either of those. We're not trying to fight it. We're not trying to run away from it. We're trying to stay with it calmly. Think about what this can do in your life if you're able to endure more and more uncomfortableness as you can remain calm. That's what this training is about. That's what sparring is about, and that's what I hope this video will help you train by working on these stances, focusing on staying with the pain. Make sure you're even on the heel and the ball of the back foot, and that your weight is, don't hold your weight up. Let the body, the torso relax into the hips. You want more weight in the leg. Gently pull the other foot into a V stance. And now we push the other leg forward into a cat stance, meaning there's no weight on it, but the foot is resting on the toe. Chin pulls in to straighten the neck, lift through the crown of the head, and sink your weight down that back leg. Opening across the chest, but not flaring the ribs forward. Ribs are in, spine is neutral. Crown of the head is pulling up, sinking into your back leg. Overriding the fight or flight. Feel the pain, become okay with the pain, as much as you can. I mean, that's what training is. It's like you aren't just born with this. So you go as far as you can go, you stay relaxed. Just don't let yourself get, if you can't control it anymore, come out of it. Try coming up an inch or two. If that still doesn't work, come all the way out. Just don't let your nervous system flare up. And then once you catch your breath and feel calm, sink back into it. Push the foot evenly through the heel and the ball. You need to create the pain so that you can practice not buying into it. Or if you feel like you can control that amount of pain, give yourself even more. And gently come up. Shake your legs out. Shake the tension out of them. Try to do this, so this was 3 minutes for each stance. If you can do this video, once a day or, a few times a week, you'll have really been training the overriding the fight or flight, which has so many applications in your life. It keeps you present in your body. The pain gives you something to focus on that's happening in the moment, that's not in your thoughts. So you're in the present moment, you're training to override fight or flight, and you're building strength in your legs, in your stances. This is probably one of the best things you can do at home to develop your Kung Fu training. Thank you.